Charles Foster, and I'm at the Rhode Island Chiropractic Society meeting in June 12, and we're just closing up. And I met a very interesting person today, Dr. Martin Roussell, is that how you say it?
Yep.
And we had a conversation last night, and I found out a very, very interesting thing from him, and I just wanted him to kind of tell us a little bit of the story. I have some documents here, and I'll let Dr. Martin show those and tell us what they are.
Hi, I'm Marty Roussell. Been a chiropractor since 1980. My father was a chiropractor and graduated from Palmer, and decided to be a chiropractor down in Louisiana because even though he grew up in Massachusetts, he spoke French. So his whole idea was that if he spoke French, he might have more of an impact in other people who spoke French. So he ended up moving to Louisiana, which at the time, in the 1950s, early 1950s, was not licensed to practice chiropractic. So he had a patient that had a couple of newborn daughters, and neither one of them opened their eyes at all. They basically were failing to thrive, and they wouldn't cry. All they would do was eat and poop, and that was basically all they could do. Brought the two daughters in to my father. He adjusted them. So the first adjustment, they opened their eyes. On the second adjustment, they started crying, and from then on, basically thrived and became healthier. Ended up graduating high school and college, but at the time, the parents of the two daughters said, well, we got to tell people, we really have to tell people what chiropractic can do, and went to the newspapers and basically told them this big story about what my father had done to try to help their daughters out. Well, that didn't quite sit really well with the establishment as far as the medical establishment was concerned. Ended up sending a couple of guys to my father's office to be adjusted, and because of that, was arrested for practicing medicine without a license.
So these guys were like undercover patients?
Yeah, for whoever was going to sue them. And I guess the AMA sued them. And this is the subpoena for, at the time.
Basically, it outlines what the charges are going to be.
Yeah, practicing medicine without a license. At any rate, ended up being arrested, which in a very, very small town in Louisiana was big news at the time. Very traumatic on my parents. However, the sheriff of the town was my father's patient, and said, Doc, if he says we'll put you in jail, but he says we're never closing the door. And then every night you're going to come home, you're going to have dinner at my house, and we'll bring you back, and we're not going to close the door, and so don't feel like you're a big-time prisoner. And then during the trial, it was basically filled with my father's patients, and the judge happened to be my father's patient as well. When my father got up on the stand, the judge leaned over to my dad and he said, "Hey Doc," he says, "if you move into the next parish, we'll just call this done." And my father goes, he said, "We'll still go to you though, we'll still go to you. Just go to the next parish. We'll stop this." And so my father says, "Okay." So the judge bangs the gavel down and says, "Dr. Roussell's moving out of the parish, so we have no more jurisdiction on him." And that was the end of it. And after that, my father had two practices constantly in different parishes, and they're like counties in Louisiana. So if he were to get nabbed in one county or in one parish, he would still have a practice in the next parish, but was never arrested again, fortunately.
That's awesome. I'm just, these kind of stories just impress me so much. I just appreciate folks like Dr. What was your father?
Roussell.
Dr.
Edmund, yeah.
Dr. Edmund Roussell, doing what he did for our profession, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us because these things really, really inspire me, and he helps so many people.
Yeah, and you think about when chiropractors move into your town. Anytime a chiropractor moved into your town back in Louisiana when my father was a chiropractor, all the chiropractors would get together and get his card and go to all the establishments, the gas stations, and hand out the new doctor's cards.
Helping each other,
really, to try to build their practices at the time, because it was such a downtrodden thing for them at the time. But And then later on, when Massachusetts got their license, when I was 13 years old, we moved back up to Massachusetts.
Hence, you don't have any Louisiana accent.
Yeah, yeah. When you come from Louisiana to Massachusetts, it's not really good to have a southern accent, so I altered that pretty quickly. But in retrospect, my father said that those times in Louisiana were his most enjoyable times in the profession. He said even though it was very, very stressful, you know, he's making $3 an adjustment at the time, but he was seeing like 100 people a day, and you know, making good money,
Right, sure.
for that time, and really considered that his most favorite time in the profession. And then the second would be when he gave me my diploma from Logan College of Chiropractic. He came up on stage with me and was able to hand me my diploma, which really hit me.
Well, I'm sure he was proud of that moment just as much as you were proud of that, and I'm sure he's proud that you're carrying on the legacy. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I'm going to try to make sure this story gets out.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot.
Thank you.